You're listening to WGAB The GabCast by the Gabber newspaper, your source of news for Gulfport, St. Pete, and the beaches. Hello and welcome. You're listening to WGAB The GabCast. I'm Ethan, and last week on May 6th, I got to go to the Gulfport City Council meeting. One of the biggest things that happened at the Gulfport City Council meeting was the city attorney announced that ex-city council member Ian O'Hara is behind on his repayments. If you don't remember, Ian O'Hara was a Gulfport City Council member who misspent about $6,000 of the city's money, and after resigning, agreed to a payment plan with the city to repay all of the money. He made at least the first two payments, but on Tuesday, the city attorney announced that he had missed some payments and that he brought that to the city council and he was prepared to offer solutions moving forward. He was under the impression that the last council and this council wasn't going to take any excuses and wasn't going to give any leeway in terms of missing payments or late payments. And so he offered two solutions. The first solution was to take Mr. O'Hara to small claims court because it was less than $8,000, and that would be a relatively inexpensive procedure, and they may get a judgment from the small claims court that the city could use to take some of his wages or collect on a couple of his assets and somehow to make the city whole again. The other option was to bring it to the state attorney to see if the state attorney was interested in the case, to see if the state attorney wanted to press the charges from that side of things. And council eventually unanimously voted to go with the state attorney, yes. So the city attorney, I got caught up there. The city attorney is going to take the case to the state attorney to see if they have any interest in prosecuting. Another thing that happened at the May 6th Gulfport City Council meeting was the first reading of this council's first ordinance, a potential smoking ban on municipal beaches. Council unanimously voted for it, and I got to sit down here in the newsroom with Cosi Jackson, Ward 3 City Council member, to talk about it. Let's go there. Thanks, Ethan. We're here in the newsroom with Cosi Jackson, the Ward 3 Council member for Gulfport, and we're introducing a new segment, Cosi Corner. Cosi, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll get into a little bit of your day-to-day.
Awesome. Thanks, Ethan. So, hi, everyone. I'm Cosi Jackson, and yeah, I guess we're calling this Cosi's Corner now, which is super cute. And I am your Ward 3 representative here in Gulfport, Florida.
Cosi, last Tuesday, you guys had the year's first ordinance, the first reading of the first law of 2025, which was a proposed ban for smoking on the municipal beaches. It was a unanimous vote, yes, for the ban. So meaning, yes, you don't want smoking, which is like a negative positive, and it can get kind of confusing. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think it's great that we did that because as we drink responsibly, we also want to smoke responsibly. And cigarette butts are definitely unnecessary pollution. And I think we all came to the agreement that this ban, at its minimum, will reduce pollution on our beaches and those cigarette filters.
Got it.
And as we know, the state law is you can smoke a cigar on the beach still because Tampa is known.
So this ban that we're talking about, it's because you're saying that because it's aimed at the litter, we're talking mostly about cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
Even though it does cover
vapes.
Sorry, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're saying by Florida law, we can't ban cigars on the beaches.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's a state law.
Interesting.
So Tampa and Ybor City and all the cigars we produce.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, Cigar City. So it's probably lobbied.
Cigar City, totally.
I understand. Cool. So this ordinance, I remember the meeting before, council asked the city attorney to draw this up after public comment. Have you been hearing complaints? And I know you spent a lot of time on the beach with the volleyball teams. Mm-hmm. Was there a lot of smoking around that?
I think when you're playing a lot of sports, you don't really have time to smoke so much.
Got it. Yeah. Athletes and
Yeah.
health and all that. Right.
But I haven't heard any pushback.
Sure.
I think, it's 2025. but we've banned smoking in a lot of places.
Right.
So, and all the other beaches along St. Pete
Mm-hmm.
have the cigarette ban. So, if the minimum is to reduce litter, I'm all for that because I am a nature lover.
Totally.
So.
And so for the second reading, are you expecting it'll go the same?
100%.
Unanimous? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy vote.
Sure.
To just
good way to kick off. It's your guys' first ordinance.
Right, and there's not a lot to talk about.
Sure.
Or to.
Right.
Yeah, have pushback on. It's not very controversial, I would say.
Yeah, we'll see. The last time Gulfport tried to ban smoking in 2012, there was a smoke-in. Everyone went to the beach and started smoking to try and get tickets.
Really?
There was a whole So we'll see. We'll see if it's still a controversial.
Oh
but,
my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the meantime, let's cut to me and Cam down at the beach looking for cigarette butts. Okay, so we're out here at the Gulfport Beach. It's a beautiful day. There's people hanging out. There's music playing, and we're using the Gabber trash baskets to pick up cigarette butts out near the benches and the picnic areas because at the last meeting they were talking about a new smoking ordinance to ban smoking on the beaches. And we found a lot. We got pretty good at finding cigarette butts, butt spotting, if you will. And we've got like 30 or 40 of them. How many do you think are in there, Cam?
I want to say there's about 30. And we found most of them by park benches.
We haven't been out here very long, and it did not take us long to find a lot of butts.
Go find your butts, guys.
Yeah.
Pick up your butts.
Pick up your butts. This has been us, and we have been here. Finishing off on a fun note, I'm back in the newsroom. I want to talk to you about this article in the May 8th issue of the Gabber. It's called Kick Pedal Trot. It was a story I wrote about the first triathlon I ever did. It was the St. Anthony's. It was a couple weekends ago. I had so much fun. I did the sprint distance triathlon, which is basically about a half-mile swim. It's a 20K bike ride and then a 5K run. I'd never done a triathlon before. It was really fun. I cannot believe it was out at Vinoy Park in downtown St. Pete. So we got in the water over at Vinoy Park. I cannot believe how many bodies were in the water with me. We were crawling all over each other. People were grabbing my feet. I was getting kicked in the face a little bit. I was like squeezing through people just to like get through. It was a mess. It was a total mess. And then we got out and we had to run all the way to the transition area. And I think I did something really smart. So like the transition area, there's tons of bicycles, like hundreds of bicycles, and you have to go find your own. And you know what like row and column it's in, but I took like this Pichu plushie I have, this like little yellow thing, and I duct taped it to my bike so I could see my bike so I could find it. So I was like, there's the little yellow thing. And the guy next to me was trying to make small talk, which was really funny. I'm like trying to put my socks on my wet feet. And he's like, oh, good day for a race, right? I was like, what? We're racing. Why are you talking to me? It was fun. It was just like a cool vibe the whole time. There was a whole army of volunteers out there, like making sure we had a great day. They managed all the people. There was like 3,000 people participating, and everyone had people watching them, like thousands of people in downtown St. Pete. The St. Pete Police Department closed First Avenue South for us to do our bike ride. And so like the best pavement in town, which I think is wasted on cars, by the way, we got to ride on it, and it was an absolute treat. So smooth. I was booking it all the way down, rode all the way back. Everyone's passing me, on your left, on your left, on your left. It was super fun. I was on my mom's old road bike. Everyone was on some kind of bike. There was all kinds of bike. There was like crappy Walmart bikes. There was multi-$1,000 triathlon bikes. There was beach cruisers. There were mountain bikes. Like it was just whatever was on two wheels worked. It was super fun. And then we did the run, and we ran north from Vinoy Park, 5K, across the bridge, came back. It was really, really hot, but we made it through. There was volunteers passing out ice and cold water, and I was just dumping it on my head. I wasn't even drinking it at that point. Me and my friend Renee did it, and we finished. And I wanted to do it in less than 2 hours. It was my first one. I did that handily, and it was just a really great event and super fun. And I've been it's funny because I tell the stories about like getting kicked in the face and then it being really hot while I was running, and then my legs hurting. Yeah, and my legs hurting while I was bike riding. But to be honest, like I can't wait to do my next triathlon. I thought it was super fun. So shout out to St. Anthony's and for putting on a great triathlon. And hopefully I'll do it next year. This has been WGAB The GabCast. I have been Ethan. Have a good night.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for tuning in to WGAB The GabCast. Until next time, you can get all your Gulfport, St. Pete, and the Beaches news at thegabber.com. This episode was recorded and edited by me, Nicole Vogler, with additional recording by Cameron Healy, the editor-in-chief of the Gabber newspaper. And the music you heard throughout this episode was made by Cyberwave Orchestra and Mark Felix. Thank you to all of you for tuning in, and steal a line from Ethan. We have been the Gabber, and this has been the GabCast. We'll see you next time.